Tonight, from coping with COVID to computer conundrums, the Great Falls School District responds to early academic year obstacles. Plus, western wildfires are making for smoky skies and leaving some Montanans breathless. And later, it finally feels like football season in Big Sky Country. Double A teams hit the field and add to this week's Game Changers.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening. Thanks for making MTN a part of your Monday. I'm Tim McGonigal. Hallie Schwinnard is off tonight. Well, we are learning more tonight about what the rest of the school year could look like in Great Falls, as Great Falls High will remain closed for a second day due to COVID-19. School district officials wrapped up a news conference just about 2 hours ago. MTN's Coulter Anstead is live at the district central office. Coulter, what did you learn?
Tim, I learned this stop-and-go plan is what the district will use so long as COVID-19 is present here in the community and there is no vaccine. Superintendent Tom Moore said there is no number of cases he can give right now that would cause the district to shut down and go to 100% remote learning. If and when a school shuts down will depend on the number of cases there, the number of people in quarantine and isolation, and the school's population. As we've reported, the district announced about this time yesterday Great Falls High would be closed today and tomorrow because of new COVID-19 cases identified over the weekend. Moore said today at the news conference that there are now about 200 students and staff members at the high school in various stages of quarantine, but the district currently only has 14 active COVID-19 cases. Moore also said the reason the high school that is, was shut down today and tomorrow is because there simply was not enough time to do the necessary contact tracing and the cleaning before the school opened today.
At some point, we may have to make some tougher decisions about the entire district, and we'll do that with a task force or a team of people that includes our school board and other health officials in the community and our administrative team.
Now, as you alluded to, the school district officials also discussed the recent network outage caused by a ransomware attack. Moore said some of the systems are being brought back online right now, but exactly how this ransomware attack happened, and perhaps the most important question, who is behind it, is still under investigation. I did ask about the cost associated with doing all of this work. Moore said there is no number yet, but significant overtime will have to be paid, and there could be what he called future costs for additional protections. Live in Great Falls, Coulter Anstead, MTN News.
All right, thanks, Coulter. Well, in court news, bail has been set at $100,000 for a Colorado man and former Carroll College student accused of raping 2 women, possessing child pornography, and filming more than a dozen women using the bathroom without their knowledge. MTN's John Riley has more.
22-year-old Connor Andrew Jones appeared via video in Lewis and Clark County Justice Court on 20 total charges, including aggravated sexual intercourse without consent, surreptitious visual observation, and sexual abuse of children. In February, a Carroll faculty member contacted Helena police after they found files on one of the school's SD cards that showed a young woman using the bathroom. In their initial investigation, detectives found a clip on the SD card that appeared to show a man they believed to be Jones setting up a camera in the bathroom. Carroll faculty confirmed to police Jones would have had access to the SD card, and the bathroom could have been in his apartment on campus. Files on the device seized by police from Jones are alleged to contain videos of 16 different women detectives could identify using the bathroom in Jones's apartment, as well as sexual videos of women on campus and an alleged rape. The women in the videos told police they had no knowledge of being filmed at the time and did not give their consent to do so. A Montana Division of Criminal Investigation agent also located more than 700 files that are alleged to contain child pornography, with some depicting a child under the age of 10. Carroll College has confirmed that current and former students were among the victims of the alleged crimes. The college described the situation as deeply disturbing and is actively conducting an internal investigation as well as working with the county attorney's office. Carroll encourages anyone with knowledge about this case, or if they're a victim themselves, to reach out. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
If Jones is able to post bail, the court has ordered him to surrender his passport and wear a GPS device. On the campaign trail, Vice President Mike Pence makes a campaign stop in Belgrade to rally support for Montana's GOP candidates. MTN's Gabby Krevitz tells us why the rally drew several hundred people.
Things are just wrapping up here in Belgrade, where Vice President Mike Pence just came to rally on behalf of President Donald Trump, as well as Montana Republicans running for office. The Vice President spoke on everything from protecting the Second Amendment to supporting law enforcement across the country. I was just told there was around 700 people that attended the event. Many people on social media were asking, were people wearing masks? We would guess roughly between 10 to 15% of people in the crowd were wearing masks. And later tonight, we will have the full story on the rally, including an exclusive interview with Mike Pence, the Vice President. For now, reporting here in Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, back to you.
All right, thanks, Gabby. Well, the U.S. Census is counting people in Montana's prisons and jails, but some Native American activists today said the state corrections department is not giving the census accurate information on Native Americans who are incarcerated. The activists appeared today before a state legislative panel and also held public events around the capital city to make their case. Native American activist Lori Little Dog of Bozeman says the corrections department count does not include accurate numbers on whether inmates are Native American or the inmate's tribal identification. She says that's important information for Indian tribes in Montana and could affect the distribution of financial aid and other resources. The Corrections Department says it's working with the Census Bureau and has determined tribal affiliation for most of the 60 inmates the DOC has listed as Native American, but Little Dog says the number of Native Americans in the prison system is much higher and that the department should allow them to communicate their status directly to the census.
They need to give paper forms to every incarcerated person across the state of Montana and turn those paper forms directly into the processing center. The Department of Corrections doesn't get to pick and choose who they think is Native enough to identify. The people get to do that, and that's a relationship between the individual and the United States Census Bureau.
The state also said it's not responsible for data collected on inmates in non-state-run prisons in Montana and urged the census to contact them about inmates' tribal affiliation. Well, the air quality, as you can imagine, is ranging from unhealthy for sensitive groups to very unhealthy across the state. You can see the smoke in the air. It's coming from wildfires in several western states, including Oregon and California. The Montana Department of Environmental Quality says the Great Falls, Helena, and Lewistown areas all have unhealthy air quality. Most areas along the High Line east of the divide remain largely unaffected, with air quality listed as good. The exception is Cut Bank, which is listed as moderate. That smoke is causing more than just poor air quality here in the Treasure State. Our meteorologist Grant Garland is here to tell us more. Grant?
Yeah, that's right, Tim. We aren't only seeing our air quality being affected, but we're also seeing our temperatures that were supposed to be around 90 degrees today. Well, they were affected. We were not able to get that high due to the smoke blocking the sun's rays from getting to the ground. Right now, we are seeing unhealthy for sensitive groups quality in Great Falls as well as Lewistown. Unhealthy for Helena as well as Missoula and Kalispell, and moderate for those out towards Malta. As far as what we're taking a look at, I mean, goodness, Lewistown and Helena, visibility is very, very low. Fort Benton, not so bad, and Malta, you can kind of see the smoke there too. Temperatures right now, 82 degrees in Helena, 83 in Lewistown, and 64 in Havre. We are looking at 8-mile-per-hour winds in Great Falls. Over the last 3 hours, we've been looking at clouds, even though we can't really see them moving through the area. Tonight, temperatures falling down to 50 degrees in Great Falls as well as Helena, and 48 in Lewistown. Now, cooler temperatures are on their way. We're going to talk about that soon, but for now, back to you, Tim.
Thanks, Grant. And coming up, how one Montana guide company has managed to stay afloat during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's part of our ongoing look at businesses benefiting from CARES Act money.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
We continue to share the stories of Montanans making the most of CARES Act money. Tonight, MTN's Matt Holzaffel takes us to Fort Benton to tell us about a locally owned business that spends most of their summer out on the water.
This week on Montana Cares, I introduce you to two business owners who make their living giving tours of the same river that Lewis and Clark were on over 200 years ago. The pandemic has been tough on a lot of different businesses, perhaps none more though than those in the tourism industry.
So right away we did get a lot of cancellations. For instance, we had a group of 14 from New York City, and we couldn't blame them for canceling.
Upper Missouri River Guides was founded in 1992 and purchased by Brett and Haley 4 years ago. Well, I'll let Brett explain what they do.
We are a full-service canoe outfitter on the river, offering guided trips ranging from 3 to 7 days.
They rely heavily on out-of-state visitors for their business.
Typically, everyone comes from out of state, and that was the problem with the quarantine.
This isn't just get in a canoe and float down the river. It's a true Montana experience, one that typically draws a large number of tourists each season.
We provide everything from the shuttle down to the put-in, all the food, and all the camping equipment, canoeing equipment, obviously, and then cook you a darn good meal. That's what we really enjoy.
Not to mention the history lesson you'll get along the way from the company's tour guides. But it's those same tour guides that led Haley and Brett to the CARES Act.
We were mostly concerned with those really wonderful guides that we had set up, and hopefully if they had a great year, they would keep coming back. And so that was the biggest concern, was the business would still exist, but what would the future look like for our guides?
All of the company's guides this season were new, except one. Many of their tours were scheduled before the pandemic began, but some of the guys found themselves furloughed from other jobs. The money from the CARES Act allowed Brett and Haley to not only keep their guides employed and scheduled, but also trained for the coming years.
Not only were we looking at possibly not hiring people, but also not getting the investment in our business that we knew we were going to get with the training and all of that. And so thankfully, we were able to just keep the schedule and even add more people.
The goal of this series has been to tell the stories of locally owned businesses in Montana through the pandemic. Not just their challenges and struggles, but their victories and what they're looking forward to as well. Upper Missouri River Guides fits that description perfectly. Their 2020 season might be over, but they're already looking forward to getting people back on the river in 2021. I hope you've enjoyed watching this series as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. In Fort Benton, Matt Holzaffel, MTN News.
A Great Falls area nonprofit is getting ready to kick off its biggest fundraiser in a new way. Because of coronavirus, the United Way of Cascade County has put together an online toolkit to help businesses wanting to give. The toolkit will help businesses reach employees who are working remotely. Traditionally, employees would fill out paperwork in their office if their business was participating and they wanted to help their employer raise money. The goal this year is to beat last year's record-setting fundraising amount of $1.1 million.
What we really want to focus on this year is the fact that, even though it's going to be harder to reach people in this environment, the need is just so much greater.
The campaign officially kicks off September 23rd. To find out how you can participate, click on the link in this story on our website.
Well, an air quality warning is in effect until tomorrow morning. Don't go away. Your 7-day forecast is coming up next.
Stormtracker Weather starts now with Grant Garland.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you have had a fantastic Monday, ready to tackle on Tuesday. Temperatures right now, not quite as hot as what we could have seen and should have seen, all thanks to the smoke. 82-degree temperatures in Great Falls, 84 in Helena, 83 in Lewistown, out towards Glasgow, 74, but 90 degrees still in Jordan and 67 in Cutbank. So when we're taking a look across Montana, we're seeing, very low visibilities in Helena as well as Lewistown. I mean, look at this. It's almost kind of black out there. In Malta, looking at some hazy conditions, but not so bad as Fort Benton. We are seeing our visibility level 7 miles in Lewistown, 4 miles in Helena, 3 in Missoula, and 1 in both Spokane as well as in Kalispell. Very hazardous conditions, and we're seeing not only the smoke, but we're looking at our air quality down as well as our temperatures going down. Because of this, we're seeing right now unhealthy conditions for those in Missoula as well as Helena and Kalispell. We're seeing unhealthy for sensitive groups, those with respiratory problems in Great Falls as well as Lewistown, and we're seeing moderate conditions right now for those in Malta. And we are expecting to see kind of really the same situation tomorrow with these hazy conditions. Air quality warning is in effect from that was earlier this morning until 8:45 tomorrow morning due to all of this. And we're also seeing right now clouds that have been making their way towards the east. We can't really see it because of all the smoke, but we are also having a fire weather warning in effect until 9 p.m. tonight due to how dry we've been. And we've been able to see some of our winds too pick up. As far as tomorrow goes, with our our humidity levels and our elevated fire risk, we are looking at seeing some elevated risk right around the 3 p.m. mark for us here in the Treasure State. But let's break it down even more, all right? Great Falls. We are expecting our driest time to be right around 3:30 when we're seeing 11% humidity. Also for Helena, we're expecting that to be right around the 2:30 mark, and we're seeing 10%. So we are creeping very closely towards those single digits, which is a big problem because any fires that are already ongoing, this can make them even more so, continuing to grow. We are expecting tomorrow possibly 25-mile-per-hour winds gusting, that is. So we need to just make sure that we're doing our part and throwing our cigarettes away properly and not starting any fires. This cold front has been making its way into the area, and that's why we're seeing cooler temperatures right along the high line. As we go into tomorrow, we're going to see the cold front try to creep a little bit more towards the south, and then we're really going to see the effects of this on Wednesday when the cold front really kind of pushes down towards Missoula and Butte and Bozeman. Our temperatures are going to reflect that with our temperatures in the lower 70s. By Wednesday evening, we're going to be looking at mostly sunny skies, but we're still going to have to deal with that haze. Wednesday, 75 degrees, starting to creep back up to around 79 on Friday before dropping down with our next system on Saturday at 71 and 70 on Sunday. Now temperatures tonight dropping down to 50 degrees in Great Falls as well as Helena, 48 in Lewistown and 44 in Havre. As far as our next 3 days go, we are going to be looking at having to deal with a lot of haze. Even though we're going to see sunny skies, we're going to have to deal with that haze too. Fridays, when the clouds start moving in, we'll have our chances for showers and thunderstorms really on Saturday. And that's the same situation for our friends in Helena too. Hazy conditions for the next 3 days, so we're just going to have to get used to it just for now. Tim?
At long last, Montana's AA teams took the football field Friday. Coming up, we'll see who provided the game-changing moments.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
3 weeks of high school football are in the books with plenty of season left before crowning state champions in November. Tom Wiley counts down the top plays from the last 7 days in our MTN Game Changers.
Class AA joined the rest of Montana on the high school gridiron over the weekend, and the guys in the bigger schools didn't waste any time putting forth some incredible performances. We're going to waste little time with a quick Cece update. She's learned how to go down big girl slides by herself, but she has to say wee or it doesn't count. At number 5, Lewistown and Big Fork in an interclass matchup. Seth Norsleen heaves it up. Luke Clinton comes down with an incredible catch, and the Golden Eagles would win this one in overtime, 22-14. At number 4, Belgrade at CMR. Rustler defensive line was in the backfield all day. How about 6 sacks on the night, including 2 each from Andrew Altschwager and Derek Rothwell. CMR shuts out Belgrade 27-0. At number 3, Havre hosting Laurel. All locomotives in this one. Eli Abe airs it out to Jack Waddell, who slips a tackle, and he is off to the races. Laurel churns out big play yards on the way to a 42-0 shutout. Butte at Helena High here. Caden Hewitt quick slant to Chase McGurran. He bounces off the defense, and there is no one in between him and the end zone. 70 yards to the house. Helena wins its opener 14-9. And at number 1, holy cow, Levi Torgerson had a day for Great Falls High against Bozeman Gallatin. How about 4 touchdowns, including the first touch of the game, a 95-yard kickoff return with some nifty moves, and the Bison spoil Gallatin's debut 48-14. Of course, you can find full coverage from the weekend at montanasports.com. And as always, if we missed anything that you think we should see on Game Changers, just send an email to sports@krtv.com. Reporting from home, Tom Wiley, MTN Sports.
Thanks, Tom, and don't go away. We'll be right back.
Well, tonight temperatures falling down to the 40s and 50s for many of us. 47 degrees in Jordan and 44 in Cut Bank. We are looking at a warm day tomorrow, but not quite as warm as what we expected today. 82 in Great Falls, 85 in Helena, 77 in Havre. Depending on how thick the smoke is will determine again how warm we're able to get tomorrow, because the smoke is helping keep out the sun's rays from reaching the ground. 78 degrees on Thursday. Hazy conditions sticking with us for the next several days. For showers and thunderstorms are possible during the weekend, and that's the same situation for our friends in Helena too. Hazy conditions for the next several days.
All right, well, that's all the time we have. We'll see you back here tonight at 10.